lot of things happening this week and next as we start to see more events. Avalanche is, of course, having theirs, and we're going to be breaking down Avalanche 9000 for you guys today. You don't want to miss this one. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into Tech Path. Joining me today is John Nahas, who is the Chief Business Officer over at AvaLabs. Great to have you, John.
Good to be back, Paul. Thanks for having me.
Good to see you. And obviously a lot of things happening within the Avalanche ecosystem. You guys gearing up for your big event in Argentina. So kudos to everything there. Hopefully this is going to be a big one. But I want to just kind of go right into Avalanche 9000. Give us a little bit of an explanation on it. Why 9000? What's the kind of the nomenclature there? And then also a little bit about the project itself.
Avalanche 9000 is really a culmination of a lot of different projects that we have coming out at the same time, primarily on the platform side. It's probably the largest upgrade in the network's history since the launch of mainnet about 4 years ago. And this is like a collection of all of our ACPs, or Avalanche Community Proposal 77 and 103. So there's a lot of things that are associated with this. The launch of public permissionless chains, the ability to have projects validate their own chains. We're lowering the cost and the barrier to entry to a lot of new projects, new developers, new builders to launch their own Avalanche L1s, which previously used to be called subnets. Right. And it's this kind of culmination that's really been the vision of Avalanche from day one, from the white paper 5-6 years ago that talked about a network of interoperable L1 chains. So this is like the final piece. We've launched the interoperability layer earlier this year. This brings about the final piece of that puzzle that really puts Avalanche on the road to the next generation of what this platform and this network of networks really looks like.
You know, is this something that we could expect soon, or is it more of a long-term rollout for 77?
Yeah, so I mean, the collection of these network updates will be going on. We already had the interoperability one go out earlier this year, and by the end of the year, we anticipate all of this will be live, and builders and application developers and everybody along those lines will be able to launch their own chains in a public permissionless way at a lower cost, a lower barrier of entry. You know, I think it's kudos to the team. We took an idea that was first proposed 5-6 years ago and really have been updating it, refining it, and perfecting it along the way. When we first launched subnets, which are now Avalanche L1s, about a year and a half, 2 years ago, there's a high cost to launch your own chain. Yeah. And we've taken feedback from partners, we've taken feedback from institutions and enterprises and gaming companies and everybody in between, and really put that into these proposals to make it easier for them to launch chains. Along the way, we've also optimized how those chains work, how much faster they can be, how much cheaper they can be, and the benefit to those builders in launching these chains.
For those watching, you know, if you guys don't know completely about what's going on with ACP 77, you can go over to the GitHub and learn a little bit more about the abstract and what John was talking about and the motivation behind this, the whole thing. This is going to be a big deal. We've talked about this before with you in terms of the opportunity and what that represents. So I am in agreement with you. It's going to be huge for the AVAX ecosystem for sure. I want to go over to a clip. This is taken from 2049, Token 2049. And it was basically talking about off the grid. So let's go to that clip real quick.
You are running around an island within a battle royale with 150 other players. You loot weapons, limbs, and other such things. And occasionally these boxes will also drop what we call a hex. You then have to carry that hex to an extraction point. At the extraction point, you have to decode that hex, which in essence sends it to our validators up in the space station. We have a space elevator concept of a space station. And those validators then decode that hex that then allows you to gain those in-game items. During the decoding process, which is between 1 minute and 2 minutes long, depending on the level and rarity of the hex, you have to actually defend that extraction point or risk losing your in-game items to another team. In addition to that, a very unique aspect of our game is that there is no company store. The only two ways to obtain items is either to find them within a gaming session and extract them, or to purchase them from another gamer that extracted the item and then listed it on the peer-to-peer marketplace. Free to download, free to play, PlayStation, Xbox, PC, some other yet to be announced platforms, having the first mainstream blockchain-enabled game ever to launch on console. Within the next 30 to 60 days, we will have a massive, massive, massive campaign. I can't get into the details yet of that, but you guys will see it very, very shortly.
Also very excited to announce that, Delphi's making a very, very large strategic investment in these guys. It's going to be our largest gaming bet ever, and very excited to see what the next sort of 30 to 60 days bring as we approach the launch timeline here.
This is really the first game truly to see multi-console on the blockchain. With all that happening in a very short period of time, obviously getting 77 launched will be critical to be able to make sure to handle the number of transactions. Do you guys feel ready for this kind of exposure?
Absolutely. I mean, I think 77 takes on another aspect to this. Their chain is live. Their chain is running right now. It's fully optimized. They're running their chain with their validators and their partners running their validators. 77 will make it even more performant and can make it more permissionless if they so choose to go down that route. But I really want to highlight how exciting of an opportunity this is, not just for Avalanche, not just for Off the Grid, but I think for the space in general. For too long, the space is focused on general purpose blockchains whose real product is their token. What we have been heralding for a long time, and it's fantastic to see the industry kind of catch up to us on this, is that purpose-built blockchains are needed. Purpose-built blockchains provide the solutions necessary to a team like Gunzilla with Off the Grid, to institutions, to enterprises, to loyalty and rewards, to crypto native builders who need their own chain, who need their own environment, that are not at the whims of, NFT drops and other things that might be congesting the chain, that provide a non-linear and non-orderly state for these guys to be able to run their program, right? Like if I am these guys and I'm running a game with hundreds of thousands, if not millions of users, I don't want to be competing for block space. I don't want to be competing for anything else. And the space for so long has continuously brought general purpose blockchains to market, who fight for users, who fight for product market fit. Our thesis is very simple, and I think Off the Grid is going to be the first and most elegant illustration of this, both for Avalanche and for the space in general, that projects of this size and magnitude and projects that have their own need their own blockchain. So we're really excited for what's coming. I mean, the fact that you have a AAA game on Xbox and PlayStation running their own blockchain tied to the Avalanche network is, I think, going to be a pivotal point, but both for us and for the space in general.
Sony has already started to move quickly with Soneium. We've started to see a lot of other projects out there starting to build into Web3 ecosystem. One of the ones that has not necessarily taken a big leap forward has been Microsoft. What are your thoughts? Do you think we're going to see them on the move soon in this area?
I don't think they're necessarily going to jump in 2 feet. I think if anything, they're going to wait and see what's working, what's not. And the space, in my opinion, is probably a little bit too early for someone like a Microsoft to either take a bet or to take a chance on something that they're unsure about going forward. I think they're mostly focused on the AI space right now. They're competing on the AI space and want to be more competitive there. On the blockchain side, I think they have the infrastructure necessary that they've been providing to a lot of projects in the space already, and they'll wait to see what they do there.
I think that's the thing you have to watch out, because they definitely don't want to be in a position where they miss that in itself. I want to go to another clip here. This is talking about Pulsar, which could go into about a 100x in terms of transactions. Take a look.
Congratulations for everybody that was playing the testnet. I don't know, more than 1 year. Pulsar is ready for mainnet. At the end of the year, we are going to be moving to tap into tablets first, because the screen is more similar, and then into mobile.
Look at this. These are the NFTs that the Spider is made of. There are going to be a huge amount of units. Something that is also really important, we only sell level 1 units and buildings. Only. And you find something that is level 25, 24, or whatever, or 100. We didn't do it. You are buying that from some other player, and the price of that is going to be the price of the basic unit plus the premium that player is going to add, depending on how that person values their time. Mining is going to be, again, the only way to mint new Pulsar.
36 days, 3 hours, 52 minutes, 30 seconds to buy the latest Genesis units.
I don't think he's too excited about that. Do you think? I think he's ready to go. And if you look at the
I share the excitement. I share his excitement. I share the excitement with the off the grid team as well, right? I think all these builders, and you're seeing it first and foremost on gaming on Avalanche, but all these guys have been waiting for these solutions. They've been waiting for them for so long, and the industry has not delivered that. I think we're at a critical moment where this single chain, this monolithic chain, this general purpose chain thesis is starting to move towards the modular thesis. Many chains, many L1s. We believe L1s have the safety and the security and the premium of being an L1 over an L2. And that's going to be the technological thing that delivers all these great applications and all these great businesses and all these great use cases to market that we have been kind of held back on, to be honest, for the last couple of years in this space.
Just looking at your L1 subnets right here, obviously a lot of growth. This thing just keeps adding in a new L1s. Pulsar, of course, is the one we're highlighting here, mainly because of their transaction growth. And if you see transactions right now continuing to climb on Pulsar, this, of course, will be interesting to see how this starts to transpire within the Avalanche ecosystem. How confident are you guys within the framework right now? Are you guys feeling like you're ready to go?
We've been waiting for this moment for a really long time.
You're like primed.
It's like I said, it's like the technical culmination, but it's also on the business side, on the marketing side. It's what we've been talking about for years. We've got about 60 chains live, I think now, 37 of which the projects are live, 23 like Pulsar, like Off the Grid, still to go live. We have over 100 on testnet, and that's limited to the private permission and the permission public chains that we have and that we've been able to work with up until now. This doesn't include the public permissionless chains that will be able to go online post ACP 77 and 103 and the whole Avalanche 9000 push. That's just going to add a whole new level of innovation, of builders, of applications, of public permissionless chains just on top of this. So we're looking at a network of potentially hundreds of chains. And this is a monumental shift in the way we look at blockchains and blockchain networks. You know, everybody looks at total value locked and total transactions and daily or monthly users. We need to look at this in a different way with Avalanche. It's total network users and total network transactions and total network value locked, because we are purposely moving things onto their own chains, whereas everyone else is trying to coalesce things on their single chain to provide a single metric to the market to say, look how much we're different than everybody else. We are purposely moving it off, and it needs a different lens to look at.
Well, I think within that, you're going to be able to see granular data and a lot more information from a lot of the different categories that are growing. And that's going to give the market a lot more data to kind of digest in terms of where the successes are. So I do agree with you. L1s. One thing that to note here, this was a tweet by IGN. I'm kind of curious. I want to get your opinion on this. Newsom, Governor Newsom of California, he's signing a bill into law. So this is essentially about the gaming industry that is going to force them, the gaming industry, to simply say, hey, you don't actually own your digitally purchased games, films, TVs, etc. This could put, you're just licensing them, this could start to put a little bit of pressure on the gaming ecosystem to where we could see a lot more people going, wait a minute, but there is a solution for this. It's called Web3, and we can own our own assets in here. Do you think this is going to have much of an impact on gaming, especially if we see a lot of states start to go this direction?
I mean, I would hope so, right? Because what the California government has shown is that companies need to be more transparent. They need to actually let people know what it is that they do or don't own. Whether people pay attention to it or take it seriously, we'll wait and see what the market says, right? You can nudge people into making their own decisions by providing them all the facts. Whether they take advantage of that or not, it's up to them. But I do agree that I think with using Web3 on the back end of gaming, people own their assets, right? We're going to see this with Off the Grid. We're going to see this with Pulsar. So hopefully people start to understand this. And I think it's a breakthrough specifically for gamers, right? I think this space for the longest time has tried to attract gaming and has done so by masquerading a token or something else as a game. What we're seeing now with Pulsar, what we're seeing with Off the Grid, what we're seeing with a lot of these games, Nexon's MapleStory universe that are building on Avalanche, is that they are putting the assets into the hands of the owners and the players. And they are making the games better and more accessible to their players by using blockchain on the back end. Blockchain is not the kind of solution, or the shiny object that makes the game special. It just enables a better game. And that's what gamers really care about. And that's what we're trying to deliver.
For sure. And I think you look at just some of the advancements that are coming. It seems like everything's coming so fast. One of the big elements that's starting to break in here is Feature.io. They're getting ready to launch Lollipop Racing on Netflix as a test. I want to go to a clip real quick so the audience can kind of understand what this means. Take a look.
So for us with, Netflix, it was a real use case in trying to show what you could do with blockchain enabled content. This smashed our expectations. I think around now it's about 100 million eyeballs. It's about half of Netflix's subscription.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Yeah.
Each of our deployments are really a way to test the technology. So Lollipop is the 2.0 version of that.
So that was Stephen from Feature that we interviewed quite some time ago in identifying this. So Feature.io using Avalanche's powered API to come in and do this whole idea around smart content, which is going to be able to integrate into streaming platforms or a media file. So this is going to give brands, all sorts of, I think, businesses in general, a new way to interact with content consumers. And that's going to be a big deal. Feature's right on the edge of this, and this test, depending on how well this goes, could be a huge breakthrough in content streaming and really kind of shift media in general. What are your thoughts about this kind of advancement?
So it's great that you had Stephen on. He's one of those founders that, you could tell his passion from just hearing him speak, and we believed in his vision and his passion as well. So Feature is doing great stuff, right? I think they're showing that you can use blockchain on the back end to enable and empower smart content. And for people that provide content, to reward their users, to attract their users, and to track that, right? So if you're watching a movie trailer on YouTube potentially, or streaming a movie on one of the major streaming sites, you'll start to collect these NFTs or these smart content enabled assets along the way. And it's curated, right? Everyone has a different experience. You might be watching a movie. I might get it at the 5-minute mark. You might get it at the credits, right? But it makes sure that you're still watching it throughout the point. And you're getting rewarded for that. And you can start to collect things across multiple brands, across multiple properties and IP. They're doing great stuff. They have fantastic partnerships. They come to this world from the traditional kind of marketing IP content world, right? They're not crypto native people trying to break in.
Right.
They have a long established track record in this space, and they're using the technology yet again to enable a use case that otherwise they would not be able to do without the technology.
If you think about this test going forward and the success, if it is successful, I anticipate it will be, we could see a big release in 2025 with a lot of new content coming out on Netflix. Squid Game comes out in December, so that's getting ready to launch. And if you look at how the first Squid Game did, I mean, it was pretty much a phenomenon. This is the kind of thing that we could see a breakthrough, because if you have something that is a premium asset like a Squid Game that could go into launching some of this smart content elements, this could be a pretty big breakthrough, I think, for streaming in general, which means you're going to see all the other platforms. Apple will have to come to the table. Amazon's going to be coming to the table. So you guys are in the right place at the right time. I want to talk about speed, all right? Speed. And you think about speed, you got to consider the amount of speed that's coming from some of the other blockchains. Sui, of course, is one that we talk about here. Fantastically fast blockchain. Do you feel like you are ready for the kind of L1 activity that's going to be coming to AVAX in the next, 12 months?
100%. Look, credit to the Sui team and to a lot of our competitors and other people in this space. I think everybody has a different offering and a different reason for why they believe they're the strongest. But at the end of the day, it's really apples and oranges. I don't believe any single blockchain, whether it's, I'm not going to list them, pick your favorite L1 blockchain, can handle an off the grid and a Pulsar and a Feature.io and institutional finance and enterprise and loyalty and DeFi and right? Like the list is endless. Our thesis and our belief from day one is that you need many interoperable layer one blockchains to handle the load, to be jurisdiction specific, compliance specific, asset specific, whatever it may be, right? All these general purpose blockchains are fantastic. They have a great virtual machine. They all have a little tweak from the other. There's a couple move virtual machine chains. There's a couple, dozens of EVM chains. At the end of the day, all of them are general purpose. And the thesis here is that general purpose is a great place to maybe launch an application. But if you need scale, if you need speed, if you need customizability, if you need predictability in fees and load testing and whatever it may be, you need your own chain. And right now, I believe we are the ones that are bringing the best solution to market that'll be the most cost effective, that'll be the most performant, and that'll be the most interoperable.
And I will have to commend you, John. You're not breaking stride here. You're staying with that message all the way through, so that's good. But one thing that is moving in the market has been these predictive markets. Of course, Polymarket hits number 2 on the app download list, which is insane because that app itself was not that much other than just it really wasn't even an app. It was just showing the current race. But the point is, there's a lot of interest in prediction markets. Now we've got a little of regulatory alignment here in the U.S. And if you look at some of the projects that are launching out there, of course, one of the ones that's coming out is Inertia, which is riding on Avalanche. And this is going to be coming live, looks to be next week. So bet it all on green next week. This could be pretty huge. Do you feel like it's a little too late for the predictive markets, or you feel like, hey, the predictive markets are much wider than just politics and we're going to see this continue to grow?
I think it's much wider than politics, but I first want to commend the Polymarket team. I think they've done a fantastic job at providing a really good solution, a really good product, and making it that blockchain is not the key component, right? Blockchain enables this. And I think in an age where people are weary of traditional news or unsure about where news comes from or how polling is done, Polymarket has taken a market approach to find data and people's opinions and put it into a prediction market, which people trust more than they do traditional news, media, and polling. So kudos to them. Kudos to Shane and team. I think what they've done is fantastic, and they've taken it mainstream in a way that a lot of projects in Web3 and crypto have failed to do so far. So they get all the credit for doing that. I think they've been very politics focused, rightfully so. That's the biggest thing. I think come November 6th, we're going to see what's the next thing for prediction markets. I think there's plenty of space for politics, sports, news, world events. The list goes on and on. It's yet to be seen if one prediction market will dominate across all of those verticals, or if different prediction markets will pop up for different kind of segments and sectors. I think there are some compliance issues that need to be taken into account, and regulatory issues depending on what the prediction markets are actually opening up markets for. But look, Polymarket's leading here. Everybody's trying to have a piece of this pie. And it's TBD on who's gonna win out, or if there's gonna be many winners. But regardless, I think it's fantastic for the space and fantastic to see all the growth on that front.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what Inertial gets going, because this could be interesting to see a new, just a new slant on predictive markets in general, of how that might look, because there could be a lot more innovations around how it's being utilized for sure. I want to hit on one last thing before I let you go, and that, of course, Avalanche being, I would consider, one of the top gaming chains, if not the #1 potential gaming chain that's out there. Playtron, of course, partnered with Sui. They launched their platform, their combined platform with the Playtron and the Sui Play program. You look at how Nintendo in the handheld market is also getting very aggressive on how they're marketing, trying to retain these mobile gaming players out there. This was a tweet by Playtron saying, hey, Nintendo getting increasingly aggressive with the handheld gaming influencers, and they're terrified of what handheld gaming PCs are going to do, and possibly to the Switch franchise, which is pretty much the leader out there. So is it possible that Avalanche, being one of the top gaming platforms, could launch a gaming platform that is mobile in kind? We have a picture of it right here. It's red. We thought red was a good color.
I love the red. Look, I think everything is possible. I think our #1 goal is to enable the best builders, the best developers, the best companies to build the best products possible. And we will provide them with the blockchain that's necessary to meet their demands and their needs. I'll let the market kind of build the best solutions, the best products. We'll be here to support all of them technologically in any way we can. Look, there's so many great builders.
I think one's coming. I think one's coming.
I think there's so many builders in this space in general, right? You just mentioned Inertia on the prediction markets out on Avalanche. They're taking a different approach across gaming. Of course, very proud of the work the team has done. and all the top names that we have there, and also all the new developers and rising stars on that front, alongside institutions and crypto natives and everybody else. So
very cool.
We're really pushing to support everybody.
So hey, listen, we're watching everything that you guys are doing in a big way. We know the event, of course, you're going to probably be announcing all sorts of great things. We'll be on the edge of our seat watching all that. So John, it's been great having you on the show again. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Paul. It's a pleasure. Good to be with you.
You bet. All right. So listen, guys, if you're, of course, we'll be covering the AVAX event down in Argentina coming up this week or next week. And also we've got the Swell event. Robinhood's got a big event here in Miami. There's a lot getting ready to happen. So you make sure and stay tuned right here. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure and do that right now and hit that little bell, because you're going to get notification when we do live streams, all that good stuff. And of course, get in on the Diamond Circle. We always leave a link down below. Catch me on X @Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.